to wet my whistle. Right, boys and girls, first off, I should apologise for not putting up a video for the last 2 weeks. Just sometimes life gets in the way. My life is crazy sometimes, you know, and it just gets in the way. So I apologise, stuff got in the way, had to deal with it. I'm sorry, but I'm here now and I'm going to make something delicious for Chris the Butcher. Steamed salmon and bean salad, to be exact. Now, unless you live under a rock, you will know who Chris the Butcher is in these circles, because some of you are subscribed to him. We share viewers. And so if you've been watching his videos recently, you'll know that he's got diabetes.
Diabetes.
And at the minute, it's all new stuff to him. He's trying to find his way, like with his diet, exercise. He's trying to figure all that out. So I'm going to help him, because he's my brother, a brother from another mother. Plus as well, he's a good friend of mine. I've known Chris and Lou for a long time. They first came across my channel in 2016. He's been stalking me ever since and won't leave me alone. Please call the police. But I've known them for a long time and they've been there for me when I've been in trouble and had problems of my own. They're just good people. So I've made this recipe, I've developed this recipe. I'm going to do some steamed salmon, a bean salad, all diabetic friendly. We're going to have some char grilled broccoli as well. I'm going to show you how to do that because that is flipping tasty AF. If you've never had charred broccoli, Chris, try it. It's way better because broccoli's a bit like farts in it when you cook it sometimes. You just steam it and boil it. Tastes a bit crap. So without further ado, let's crack on with it. Do the usual thing as well, like, share and subscribe. Press the grey notification bell as well. That way YouTube tells you when I upload. They don't flip in always. Some of you last week told me you're not getting notifications of my videos. Why? So let's do it, come on. First thing we need to do is bean salad. Let's go. Okay, right, let's start this bean salad. It's a very simple thing to make. It just requires a bit of prep, bit of chopping. Because I want to make this as easy as possible for Chris because I know we don't like faffing about in the kitchen for too long. So it's going to be nice and simple, but it does require a bit of chopping. So what I've got here are 4 sort of small, medium-ish tomatoes. What I'm going to do is just cut them in half and just kind of squeeze out some of the juice. The reason being is if you kind of leave all that in, it's going to make the salad too wet. It's just going to be mushy and soupy all over your plate. We don't want that. We just want the tomato flesh. Doesn't matter about the seeds, that's fine, but we want to get out that juice. If you don't want to waste the juice, drink it if you want. I don't care. There we go, so I've taken all the juice out. You can see it there. We don't need that. We don't need it. We don't want it. And then all I'm going to do is just dice these tomatoes up, sort of in half, maybe into 3s. Just dice them into little bits. Don't have to be too fussy with it. Kind of like that, little bits like that. We'll get those into the bowl and I'll crack on and do the rest. So once you've diced your tomatoes, the next thing we're going to chop up is a shallot. This is called a banana shallot. Don't have to use these, Chris, if you haven't got it. They're just milder and sweeter than just a regular onion. And that's going to help bring balance to the bean salad because we're not going to add any sugar. So by adding the sweetness from the tomatoes and the shallot, you're getting that balance. Red onion works fine as well if you haven't got shallots, but try and stay away from white or brown onions because they're too harsh, they're too strong in flavour, and they're just going to overpower the dish. So I'm just going to cut this in half lengthways. Get rid of any onion pubes, we don't want those. And all we're going to do is just dice this up. You want it fairly chunky because at the end of the day you want to know you're having shallot. If you dice it too fine, you've got nothing to bite into. Then we're going to take that and just kind of break them up a bit into the bowl with the tomatoes. Chilli is the next thing we're going to add. Now it depends on the chilli as to how hot it's going to be. So I've just got some bog standard red chillies from the supermarket. So I'm going to use probably the whole chilli, but I'm going to use half in the bean salad and then I'm going to use half to kind of make like a simple dressing for the charred broccoli. So if you want it hotter, Chris, then obviously add more. If you want it less hot, add less. I'm going to take the seeds out because no one wants to be chomping onto those, do they? And you want to dice this fairly fine because you don't want to bite into a huge chunk of chilli. So I'm going to dice this up. Okay, so we'll get our chilli into the tomatoes and shallots. Next, we've got our beans. So what I've got here is a can of mixed beans in water. Try to get the ones that are low sodium if you can. Obviously drain off the water. So I'm going to get these into the bowl. In they go. Now the brilliant thing about beans is they've got a very low glycemic index, which is great if you're diabetic, They're also high in fibre, high in protein. So if you're missing those carbs, beans are going to help replace that. Beans, and they make you fart. What next? Coriander or cilantro. We're going to add some of that. Now if you're one of those people that don't like coriander because it reminds you of eating soap, firstly I would say, who's eating soap? But also, you know, you can switch it out for another herb. Dill would be nice in there, tarragon even, or probably better still, basil, fresh basil. Use fresh herbs though, Chris, none of that dried bollocks. And a good thing about coriander is you can use the stems as well. They've got plenty of flavour in them. And I'm just going to bunch this up. And then all I'm going to do is just bunch this up and then just slice it up, chop it up even. Then I'm going to get that into the bowl as well. And I think that's it, chopping wise. Oh no, what we want is some lemon, okay? We don't need a lot of lemon, not in this salad, because we're going to add some red wine vinegar as well for acidity. And just kind of roll the lemon. This helps release the juice. And what we want really is about a quarter. So what I'm going to do is just run my knife down the side of it, lengthways, until you've sliced off like a nugget, like that. And take your salad, and we're going to squeeze that in. Next thing I'm going to add is some red wine vinegar. You could use white wine vinegar, maybe some balsamic, but I don't know if balsamic's going to be good for you because it's got quite a sweet flavour. I don't know, you'd have to check up on that. But I'm using red wine vinegar, just gives it a bit of acidity. You don't want much, I'd say about a teaspoon. Then we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And we do need to season this up, so we're going to add some salt. Just obviously go careful with it, Chris, because we don't want your heart to explode. We love you, brother. Some pepper. Some of the bullshit pepper meal. Then we're going to take a spoon and give that a good old mix. I mean, look at that. How can that not be good for you? All those colours, different textures in there, flavours. Now, you can eat that straight away. If you want, you can serve that up with your salmon. Bosh. Tea's ready, but it really does benefit from sitting for a while. So what I'm going to do is stick that in the fridge, leave it for like 20 minutes or so, half an hour. We're going to get on and kind of do everything else, get the salmon ready, and by the time we're ready to serve up, that's going to taste banging. So yeah, next thing, we're going to prepare the salmon. Let's get on with it. So we have got our salmon here, got two nice fillets. Now, I don't know about you, Chris, I could bloody well demolish those by myself. So if you're going to be a fat bastard and you're going to eat both of these, if you're going to make it for Lou as well, I'd probably get 4 because these are quite sort of small and thin. You can get the bigger ones as well, but they didn't have them in the shops today. And these are actually smoked. I didn't realise that when I bought them. And I've got a clove of garlic here, which I'm just going to slice up into little slices, nice and thin. And please, Chris, don't use jarred minced garlic crap.
Because we want garlic in this, eh?
It's not really good for something like this. If you're putting it in a curry or a casserole, stew, something like that, you can get away with it. But the taste, I'm not keen on it. Fresh garlic is best when you're doing this. So I've got myself a little roasting tray, got some foil in there. We're going to add the salmon fillets. Get those bad boys in, whichever way they fit. Any juices? Want those? It's all flavour. And again, just season them lightly. Bit of pepper, just a tiny bit of salt. Again, be very careful. Then just a tiny bit of olive oil, just on each one. Oh, that's a flood of olive oil. Doesn't matter, it's all good for you. Just kind of massage that in, get it coated. Bay leaf on each one. Give it a bit of a scrunch. Now, I know you're not going to have fresh ones, Chris, so dried ones are going to be fine. You're not going to be able to kind of scrunch them because they will turn to bay leaf dust. Just pop them on there like that. Garlic, just a few slices, dotted around. This is just going to give it a bit of perfume. It's not going to like really permeate into the fish. It's just going to perfume it, nice and light. Then I'm going to take the rest of that lemon and just cut off a few slices. So little slices like that. And just kind of lay 2 on each of the salmon. Then I'm going to squeeze over the rest of the juice as well. Now the salmon is going to release quite a lot of moisture as well, so that's going to help steam and keeping all that flavour and nutrition. Okay, so that's what we want. Steaming is like probably the best thing ever in terms of keeping nutrition in. And then all we need to do then is wrap it up, but that's probably going to sound really loud through the camera, so I might mute that, we'll see. Just kind of wrap it up and make sure you leave a bit of an air gap inside. Don't like kind of squish it down, because by leaving a bit of a gap, that allows the fish to steam. So there we go, boys and girls, that is your salmon ready to go in the oven. but we're not going to do that yet because it's not going to take very long to cook. But what I am going to do is blanch the broccoli. Now, I've got some tender stem broccoli here. What I'm going to do is just kind of trim them up a bit. I'm going to take a potato peeler and just take off the outside skin of the stems, just because they can be a bit woody and chewy sometimes. And what I'm also going to do is just trim off the last ½ inch, say, of stem, again because it can be a bit chewy and a bit woody. We don't want that, do we? At all. So I'm going to whisk through these and I'll see you in a second.
2,000 years later.
So there we have our broccoli all ready to go, nicely trimmed, washed and ready to blanch. That looks like the perfect bunch of flowers for a bloody vegan, doesn't it? Who will buy my sweet red roses? I fucking hate it. So what we're going to do is blanch the broccoli, which basically means part cook it. We're not going to cook it all the way through, probably to about 40–50%. You don't have to be that accurate, it's fine. So I'm going to get this pan onto some heat, get it boiling. I was going to season the water, but I'm not going to because we're going to season it afterwards, so we don't want too much salt. In with our tender stem broccoli, and we need to bring that water to a rolling boil. So that's going to take a few minutes. Right, so once the broccoli has started boiling, we're going to turn that down to a simmer, and we're just going to gently simmer that for 1, maybe 2 minutes. It really kind of depends on the size of the broccoli, but we're not looking to cook it all the way through. So all you're going to do is just after a minute or so, just kind of test the thick stems with a knife, just poke the knife in. You want a bit of resistance there, but you don't want it mushy and soft, okay? Again, Chris, you don't have to do this bit. You can have just normal steamed broccoli, but why would you want that? It's boring. Tastes like trees and misery. And then what I'll do is I'll drain them, but keep them in the same pan and then fill it up again with cold water. And the reason we put them back in cold water is A, it stops the cooking process, and B, it stops them from going brown. So I'm going to simmer these for a bit. See you in a second. Right, okay, so we are ready to cook now. And really, honestly, this takes no time at all. We're going to cook the broccoli at the same time as the fish, because the fish is going to take 5, maybe 10 minutes max. Okay, it's going to steam in its own juices. If you've got bigger portions, it may take a bit longer. But I reckon about 5 minutes. So I've preheated my oven to gas mark 5. Conversions will be up on the screen now. So that's going to go into the oven. And here I've got my griddle pan, which I'm going to get onto its maximum heat. Get that nice and hot. I think you've got one of these, Chris, or a version of. If you haven't though, a dry frying pan will work. You can roast them off in the oven as well, although you're not going to get quite the same effect. Right, I think we're about there. It's getting nice and hot. So we're going to go on with our broccoli, straight in. You don't need any oil, not at this point, because we're going to dress it afterwards. And look, it's not rocket science. Basically what you need to do is to get nice char grilled marks on these. It's going to take a few minutes, but also what it's going to do is finish cooking the broccoli as well. So you get nice and tender. They're just perfectly cooked, not soggy and mushy and crap. So come back in a few minutes and I'll show you what they need to look like.
Woody.
God, make sure you open all your windows and doors because it's like a flipping episode of Stars on the Horizon here. You can smoke everywhere. But look, back on the tripod. Got a nice little bit of char on there, not too much. You don't want to go overboard. If I kind of bring one up to you, you can kind of see. See, got all those nice little charred bits. That is flavour. So now our salmon is pretty much there, it's pretty much done, probably a minute away. So I'm going to take the broccoli, actually no, first what I'm going to do is add a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of this bowl, or suitable vessel. I'd say 2 tablespoons is going to be plenty. And remember the rest of that chilli that we used for the bean salad, I've diced that up nice and small, that's going in. Then I've got a clove of garlic, which I'm just going to mince in. Now I don't think you've got one of these, Chris, it's called a microplane. But don't worry, I've got you back. I'm going to send you one. Because I'm nice like that. Great for kind of lemon zest, grating garlic, onion, Parmesan cheese over the top of dishes, spices like nutmeg, you want to grate it into a dish, they're brilliant. Then we're going to get the broccoli into that. Just kind of mix that up with your hands, get it coated, and of course we need to season this up as well, so a little bit of salt, again be careful, not too much. Bit of cracked black pepper, Give that a smoosh around. Give it some abuse. And there we go. That is our dressed char grilled broccoli. Come and have a look at this. Come and have a look. Come and have a look. Hey? That, boys and girls, is sexy broccoli. All right? None of your flipping boiled shit trees. That is sexy broccoli. So let's check on this salmon as well, see if that's done. I think it's pretty much there. Okay, let's have a little look. Ah. Hot, 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 hot. Pinch. I'm going to check these. Oh yes, they are cooked to perfection. So yeah, salmon's done. We can now plate up. So here it is then. Chris's fishy diabetic dishy. I'm gonna add a bit more lemon. Get it on there. And you know, Chris, this is easy to make. Honestly, I probably made it look harder than what it was, 10 times harder, but it really is so simple to do. The salmon is cooked to perfection, but this charred broccoli, man, just takes it to a whole new level. That nice, zesty, sort of fresh bean salad. And I know I've put one salmon fillet on there, but I promise you, I'm going to absolutely demolish the other one as well. But that, folks, that is a winner. Not just for Chris, but for anyone. Had my second jab, didn't I? My arm's sore. Starting to kind of take effect. I had it this morning, so it's Friday when I'm filming this. It's Friday evening. It's about what was it, about 8 o'clock, something like that. And I had my jab this morning at 9 o'clock. I feel fantastic. I feel great. If you remember from the first jab, I improved in the evening. Like I gained some sort of superpowers, Pfizer powers, and I feel great now. But this time my arm is it's like dead and numb. So hopefully I won't get any side effects. So I'm going fishing tomorrow with my dad, and I don't want to miss that out. Do you think it's a bit wet, Dad? I think so. A bit wet. Right. But anyway, enough blabbing, enough waffling. This flipping camera's on the piss. But look, there we are. That's a video dedicated to Chris. Little recipe suitable for diabetics. Steamed salmon with some nice bits in there, some garlic. We did some bay leaves in there, some lemon. Did a nice little simple bean salad, nice and fresh. We also did some char grilled broccoli as well with some chilli and garlic oil. If you do give this a go, Chris, let me know how it turned out, if you liked it or not. But what I'll do, folks, as well, if you're not familiar with Chris, I'll put a link up on the screen to his channel. You can go and check him out, subscribe. Well, I'm going to go and finish the rest of this because it is my dinner after all. So I guess I'll see your gorgeous faces in the next video. Oh, olive oil. Blip. And bye for now. See ya.